The new railway will massively boost the country's economic growth, even the whole East Africa. The railway, which is built according to Chinese standards, is another great of China-Africa cooperation.
Na tukakubaliana ya kwamba reli hii ikijengwa itatusaidia kupanua uchumi, kupanua nafasi za kazi na kupanua nafasi ya kuendelesha uchumi zaidi na kumaliza umaskini na pia kupunguza bei ya wafanyi biashara.
The project President Kenyatta mentioned is the SGR. President Kenyatta launched an SGR advisory panel with his cabinet ministers, hosting a meeting and listened to progress reports from contractors every 3 months in order to solve any problems during the construction.
这么一个项目，它是个继续努力的成果，体现了现在进展的这么好、这么快，得到各方的赞誉。我相信这个体现的是中国的实力，也体现了非洲的潜力。
As the project goes on, the SGR is bringing opportunities to Kenya and is directly boosting the country's economic growth.
We also expect that with that, the overall flow is that then the cost of goods go down and the lives of our people improve. It informs the GDP growth, and our target as per the feasibility studies that we should be able to realize during construction and post-construction minimum 1.5% contribution to GDP.
In August of 2016, the president of Senegal, Mr. Sall, was invited to the G20 Hangzhou summit in China. He also visited the SGR construction site. Mr. Sall said that the SGR is connecting Kenya with other countries around the border, and it gives great encouragement to other African countries that yearn for development.
This is exactly the view we want in Africa for the next 20 years. Without infrastructure, without energy, we can forget the development of Africa. So we need railroads, we need roads, bridges, we need power plants, and it is what China is doing with Africa today.
9 months later, in May of 2017, the Belt and Road Summit was held in Beijing. Kenyan President Kenyatta said at the roundtable that the Belt and Road Initiative is the best model for Africa's desired progress, which will reignite Africa's own plans for regional and continental integration. On the 15th of May, the presidents of China and Kenya both met in the Great Hall of the People. Chinese President Xi stressed that Kenya is part of the historic and natural extension of the Maritime Silk Road. The Mombasa-Nairobi Railway will form an industrial and economic corridor that integrates the railway, the Mombasa port, and the Mombasa Special Economic Zone. 120 years separate the meter gauge railway and the standard gauge railway. The friendship between China and Africa has remained despite a changing world. As a significant part of Belt and Road, Africa has joined a new platform for innovation and development through global collaboration.
And joining me here in studio for a further discussion on this is Professor Michael Chege. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us.
Thank you.
So how is this SGR link likely to transform Kenya's development going forward?
This SGR link is going to be a game changer for the Kenya economy in many ways. For the first time, as you know, we're having a rail connection between the coast and the capital city expanding westwards, which is going to carry most of the luggage, from the port coming into the interior, and all our exports coming from the interior to the harbour. It used to be that, at least at the moment, we are 80% of our imports are coming to the interior via road. That proportion is going to change. Most of the haulage will be done by the railway, 20% by road. And that's a big change because the railway is more efficient, it's more timely, it pollutes less, and it has got much fewer accidents.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the benefits that it's going to bring. So the question is, what should the government do to ensure that this massive infrastructure project continues to serve Kenya and the wider region for a long time to come?
Of course, the first step they've taken is to prepare for the extension of the railway to Naivasha, which is ongoing, then on to Kisumu and Malava so that it can take on to Uganda and Rwanda. That is very good because we are all one common market, the East African community. That's one step. The second step, which you must never forget when it comes to large infrastructure programs like this, is the importance of maintenance. We have had a railway here that the British built in 1899. At some point, our capacity to maintain it declined. We must make sure that this particular line is maintained to the highest standards possible, and that nothing, the smallest opportunity that arises for repair, we must take advantage of it and proceed to do the repairs in good time so that the efficiency is maintained in the long run.
But does Kenya have that capacity?
Well, the good thing about SGR is that the agreement between us and the People's Republic of China is to train Kenyans to take over management over a period of about 10 years. And the training has already begun. I think those who have been following the project closely will know that some Kenyans have been trained in China, and some have been trained right here. And some already have taken up some of the responsibilities of managing the railway. So we are seeing some progress towards that. We're hoping in future there'll be more trained so that Kenyans can take over the responsibility of running the railway eventually. And I think that is what both governments want to see happen.
Right, Professor Chege, thank you very much for joining us. We had here in studio Professor Michael Chege. He is a public policy and international development expert.